Hello students, today I will try to cover five or six important topics which come in exam, and it's the quickest possible way of revision. First of all, this thing is very confusing, pre-renal versus acute tubular necrosis, how to differentiate between these two. So first of all, we take sodium. In pre-renal, since reabsorption capacity of kidney is okay, so in urine sodium is less than 20 millimoles, while fractional excretion of sodium is also less than 1%. Fractional excretion of urea is less than 35%, and osmolality of urine is greater than 500 milliosmol per kg in renal causes, because kidneys they have intact absorption. Then, if we give fluid challenge to the patient with pre-renal azotemia, he might respond to that because still tubules they are not necrotic. Then urine to plasma osmolality ratio is also greater than 1.5 because urine has the ability to concentrate. And urine to plasma urea ratio is also greater than 10 is to 1 because urine is osmotically it contains osmotically active substances. Then after that, specific gravity of urine in pre-renal cases is greater than 1020, while in ATN it is less than 1010. And urine may contain normal or bland casts, while in case of ATN there may be muddy brown casts. Then another important thing that comes in exam is definition of acute kidney injury. It is rise in creatinine to 26 micromole per liter in 48 hours, or it is increase in serum creatinine level of equal to 50% or greater than 50% in last 7 days, or fall in urine output to less than 0.5 cc per kg per hour for 6 hours in adults while 8 hours in children. After that, I will discuss how to calculate GFR. We use an equation for this, which is called modification of diet in renal disease equation, MDRD. So I have made a mnemonic for the factors on which it depends, and this mnemonic is age C. So stands for age, G for gender, E for ethnicity, and C for serum creatinine. Other than this, pregnancy, muscle mass, eating red meat before calculation of GFR, it can also affect it. So depending upon GFR, we have divided kidney disease into five grades. And if we start from below, that is from grade 5, GFR is usually less than 15. And then after that, it follows pattern of table of 15. In grade 4, GFR is between 15 to 29. Then in 3A, it is from 30 to 44. Then in 3B, 45 to 59. And 2, it is 60 to 90, and in grade 1 it is greater than 90, but it must be remembered that in grade 1 and 2 CKD, urea creatinine, they are normal. This is considered to be normal kidney function tests. Then another important concept in CKD regarding exam is anemia. So there are many causes of anemia in CKD. There is a hormone which is called erythropoietin, which is produced by kidney, and it helps to make RBCs and hemoglobin. It is decreased when there is chronic kidney failure. Then after that, there is an acute inflammatory marker released in chronic kidney disease, which is called hepcidin. Hepcidin, it decreases absorption of iron from gut. As we know that in chronic kidney disease, acid-base balance is also disturbed, and patient is having metabolic acidosis. So metabolic acidosis, it prevents conversion of Fe plus 2 to Fe plus 3, which is active form and which can bind to oxygen. Then after that, uremia has a suppressant effect on bone marrow. Then it has suppressant effect on GIT, causing anorexia, nausea, vomiting. And on GIT, there is another effect which is called stress ulcers. Due to this, patient cannot eat much, and then it affects on two blood cells. It decreases lifespan of red blood cells, and it also causes qualitative dysfunction of platelets, resulting in bleeding. So, if iron is less in CKD, we can give oral iron for 3 months. But if it does not increase after 3 months of therapy, then we can give IV iron as well. Our target is 10 to 12 gram per deciliter of hemoglobin. CKD is also associated with hypertension, and usually the first choice of drug is ACE inhibitor. 30% increase in creatinine or 25% decrease in GFR, it is acceptable, and it does occur if we start ACE inhibitor in patient with CKD because it decreases filtration pressure. If GFR is less than 45, then we give loop diuretics. Then CKD is also associated with different bone diseases. As we know that one function of kidney is to produce activated form of vitamin D. So when there will be no activated form of vitamin D, calcium will be low, and when vitamin D will be low, calcium will be low, phosphate will be low, alkaline phosphatase will be high, so the patient have chances of developing osteomalacia. And because of decreased calcium, there is secondary hyperparathyroidism. And if secondary hyperparathyroidism, it remains for a certain period of time, it can be changed into tertiary hyperparathyroidism, means that parathyroid, they after some time become autonomous and start producing, irrespective of calcium level in the blood, start producing excessive parathyroid. And this excessive parathyroid, it produces cysts in the bone. Then this is also called as osteoarthritis fibrosa cystica, this tertiary hyperparathyroidism. Then after that, adynamic bone disease and osteopetrosis and osteosclerosis, they are also very common. In adynamic bone disease, there is a very less number of cells in the bone. How do we treat this bone disease? Is that we give activated form of vitamin D, and we give phosphate binders. And usually aluminum containing phosphate binders and calcium containing phosphate binders, they are avoided because they have their own side effects. They can cause calciphylaxis and abnormal calcification at different places. So salicylate is used. This phosphate binder, it does not produce side effects as that of aluminum containing or calcium containing phosphate binders. It also decreases uric acid and has a positive effect on lipid profile, which is deranged in patient of CKD.